Hi, I'm Tina Ann Middleton, author of the Forestville series. I'd like to welcome you today to the writing journey, where we inspire and encourage each other as we learn the craft of writing. Today we'll be talking about using weather to inspire our stories. We'll be right back. You know, weather is something we don't really think about, especially for writing. You know, to us it just is. It's just what's there. It's hot or it's cold or it's rainy or it's dry. You know, unless it's like a really bad storm, we just don't think about it. But weather can provide great inspiration for our stories. Now, before we get started, let me encourage you, subscribe to The Writing Journey. Make sure you ring the bell so you get notification of future videos. Also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and my Amazon author page. So let's look at the different things from weather that we can use for stories. Now, storms are great. You know, think like a hurricane. You could write a story around a hurricane. A lot of authors do. I've read several. People preparing for the storm. How do they prepare? What kind of romantic or crime or what other kind of suspense elements might be going on in the background while they're getting ready for this storm? There can be a blizzard. Someone is caught in a blizzard or in a thunderstorm. You know, and I'm not talking just your general run-of-the-mill spring thunder shower. I mean a thunderstorm. Wind and pouring, drenching rain and hail and thunder and lightning, you know, the whole thing. I have also read stories about the aftermath of a storm. Say after a tornado. Talk about some stories. People who might be complete strangers before the storm become very good friends during and after because they've got that shared experience. And that's another element. The shared experience. Say people trapped in a cabin up in the mountains during a blizzard. One of my favorite authors is Grace Livingston Hill, and she's written stories of someone who got caught in a snowstorm, lost his way, wound up at somebody's house, and met the future love of his life. She also told of a story of someone who lived on an island and they were caught in a storm and the girl rescued a guy, and then the love story grew from there. So storms, preparing for the storm, caught in the storm, the aftermath of the storm. You know, let's narrow it down a little bit. What about snow? There can be pictures, mental pictures of lovers walking in the snow that can make a very nice romantic scene. Someone lost in a snowstorm, like the one I mentioned from Grace Livingston Hill's book. Or even setting the scene of a family or of an individual who's inside, got the fire going, and it's snowing outside, but they're inside safe and warm and secure. You can also write stories about problems caused by the snow. Someone that's driving and the snow has caused problems on the streets. You know, you could set that one in Louisiana, because when we get snow, it shuts everything down. You know, I could write a story about someone being stuck either in the house or out in traffic because of snow. So let's move from the snow and the cold to heat, hot weather. Desert Southwest. It gets really hot there. Someone's lost in the desert. It's hot. They don't have any water. Or someone who is in delicate health, and our villain locks this woman, say a woman in delicate health, can't handle the heat. Villain locks her in a shed somewhere, and the hero has to find her before the heat kills her. That's some possibilities right there. Somebody who can't sleep because of the heat. Yeah, anybody can relate to that? I can. When the power's gone out. Last year, Hurricane Laura knocked out power, and ours was only out about a day, but it's hard to sleep when you're hot and sticky. You know, I'd mentioned being out in the desert. It doesn't even have to be on the desert. How about a stretch of highway? In my book, Hidden Target, there's a scene where our heroine, Rachel, is on her way home from town. And it's about a 5 or 10 mile trip. Please don't ask me to nail that down. I'm geographically challenged. But in the story, there's a stretch of highway where there's no internet service. Somebody has sabotaged her gas tank so that she runs out of gas on the way home. And this is in, I think I put it in August. Hot weather. Our Augusts are very hot. So the car, or her truck rather, runs out of gas. Rachel grabs her bottle of water, but it's not full. And she starts walking. Runs out of water. And she's getting hot and dizzy, a little bit nauseated. So that's part of the story. Someone being trapped in the heat. Either trapped in a building, trapped walking. I'm not going to tell you what happened with Rachel. You'll have to buy the book to find out. So let's look at rain. You know, rain, you can write stories with rain, and you can do it kind of like I mentioned with the snow. You know, the person that's inside and all nice and cozy while it's raining outside. Rain can be used in suspense and mystery. It's raining hard, and that covers the footsteps of someone who's breaking in. You can decide, will that character be the good guy breaking in to save someone from the bad guy? Or will it be the bad guy sneaking up to hurt someone? So rain, it's all kinds of possibilities. You can write stories about it flooding. Look at the flip side. How about drought? No rain. There are authors who have written books about the Dust Bowl. When there was a drought, I think people described it as West Texas blowing over into East Texas, but Oklahoma got it too. You know, when there's no rain and the crops are failing, and perhaps the animals are having to be sold off because they can't be watered, there's a story. You know, it's really amazing when you think about all the ways that we can write stories from the weather around us. So the next time we're tempted to complain about the weather, let's stop and think about it. What kind of a story could I write? Now again, I'm mostly looking at fiction, but there's nonfiction too. People have written about historic floods, historic droughts. A lot of people love to read history about disasters, weather disasters, floods, earthquakes, take your pick. It's all kinds of possibilities. Puts a whole new perspective on weather, doesn't it? Let me encourage you, whether you write about the weather or you just enjoy what weather you have, make sure that you keep writing, and have a great week.